One of the most common questions I get is, Emily, what niche should I pick for my Etsy shop? And I'm going to be honest, that actually can hurt you more than it can help you when you're first getting started. Because here's the reality. When you're totally brand new to this, feeling this overwhelming pressure to pick the perfect niche can actually lead to analysis paralysis and keep you stuck. So today, I'm going to show you a beginner-friendly, simpler, way less stressful approach when you're first starting your Etsy print-on-demand shop. And it is the exact way that I got my first sales and scaled to $100,000 in under 10 months in my Etsy shop with zero business experience and without knowing who my ideal customer was when I first started. Hi there, my name is Emily, and I'm a top 1% Etsy print-on-demand seller who started this whole adventure with zero background in any of this. And now, as a busy mom of two, I am helping others start, grow, and scale their own Etsy print-on-demand shops. And if you are looking for help in growing your own Etsy print-on-demand shop, don't forget to hit like or subscribe below so you don't miss a single weekly video. When I'm talking with new sellers every week in my Gift Lab community, the things that I'm hearing from them is they're afraid to lock themselves into a niche too early. They're afraid of choosing the wrong thing. They're afraid of choosing the wrong products, the wrong customers, because they don't know what works yet. And then what ultimately happens is they delay doing the things that are actually going to help them grow, which is learning how to research for products, learning how to list, learning how to design, learning how to create mockups. So all of that pressure around finding the perfect niche and the perfect customer ultimately leads them to just stop in their tracks and not progress. Okay, so the aha moment I had when I was first getting started was that I had been feeling overwhelmed and like I couldn't move forward because I was waiting for this clarity around my perfect niche before I moved forward. When in reality, it's the reverse. We have to try things first and experiment a little bit to get the data we need, the information we need to know what works, to then determine our customer and determine our niche. Now, one caveat I will make to that is obviously if you're coming into this with a lot of experience in business and e-commerce and marketing, you might be ready to jump in and know exactly what works for Etsy buyers. But again, this is if you're coming into this having no idea what to sell or who to sell to or what niches to sell in. So today we're going to be breaking down exactly how to fight against that overwhelming feeling and what to do instead. So this mindset shift that I had early on really changed everything for me. And what I realized is you don't need to niche down your entire shop on day one. What really matters is niching down your individual products. Because here's the truth. Most Etsy buyers are going to come across your listings when they have their search results pop up. So for example, they go on Etsy and they look for funny birthday gift, and they are going to scroll Etsy and see lots of different results from a variety of different Etsy shops, right? They aren't necessarily going to find your shop in particular and going into there and looking for specific items. So what's most important is niching down your individual products and making sure those are popping up for Etsy buyers. Now, of course, let me caveat all of this. This is all very nuanced. Of course, we ideally want a shop that feels cohesive in some way, but we will get there. This is if you are just beginning and just trying to figure out what to sell at the beginning of your shop. So the thing that needs clarity is truly your listings and your designs, not so much your entire shop from day one. The great news is your shop can evolve. How my shop looked on day one looks very, very different now. And that is a slow and gradual process. And what it took to get there was learning from what works and learning from what doesn't work. All right, so we are going to break down some steps that you can take today to be able to start niching down your individual listings and feeling less overwhelmed about this idea of picking the perfect niche. Step one is going to be start with what you already know. So one of the best pieces of advice I can give you is when you are trying to figure out what to sell, the first thing I want you to do is get out a pen and paper or your computer and start brainstorming everything that you have experience with or you have familiarity with. So let's think hobbies, professions, identities, maybe family. Are you a mom? Are you a grandmother? Are you a daughter? Think about milestone moments in life that you've had experience with. Maybe you've planned a wedding before. Maybe you've planned a retirement party before. Maybe you've graduated. What things have you had experience with? And then don't stop there. What I want you to do is I want you to think about other people in your life and those same things about them. So this is the example I always love to give. When I first started my Etsy shop, I had no idea what to start with. And I started asking around to my immediate family. And my sister-in-law is a speech language pathologist. And she said, we always buy things on Etsy. So I thought, great idea. I did some research. I validated that there was demand for speech therapist gifts and products on Etsy. And so I just started there. Now, today, am I selling primarily speech therapist products? No. But again, your shop will evolve and that will happen over time. But it was a starting point that allowed me to jump off. And I like to say my very first sales were in the speech therapist niche. And it showed me what was working and helped give me more information to keep moving forward. Now, moving on to step 2. So you've developed your list of ideas that you have familiarity with, understanding of, you have experience in, or maybe the people in your life. And now I want us to narrow down to one general focus where you are going to start. But I don't want this to feel like there's a lot of pressure around it. I want it to feel like, okay, this is just a starting point. It doesn't mean I have to stay here forever. What I want you to do is I want you to pick one general focus for your niche. So let's say, for example, you had experience in different careers, or maybe you're a teacher or you're a speech therapist like my sister-in-law, and I want you to pick a general overarching niche. Now, in this example, we are going to be using professions as a niche. So for the example I'm going to walk through today, let's pick the professions niche as kind of your general focus. Now, here's the great thing. Professions can be pretty broad. So it means it gives you a lot of wiggle room to try different things and go in different directions. I want you to think of this general focus as almost like an umbrella. So this umbrella is going to be above you, and underneath you're going to have different, what I would like to call micro niches. Now, this is where it's really important to think about niching down your individual products. So your focus as a whole is going to be this professions, but your individual products are going to be really niched down. They're going to be these micro niches. So when I say micro niche, that means something like second grade teachers or ICU nurses or accountants, really more specific than these broad kind of professional gifts. And then I want you to pair with that one umbrella focus a product that you want to start with. And I really encourage you to stick with one product to get you started. And this is going to be really important because you want to become an expert in that product type. When you are able to dig into the research on this overarching umbrella niche and one product type, it allows you to stay really focused and not get what I would like to call squirrel brain. And I am notorious for having squirrel brain, wanting to go in a million directions, but that has never served me well when it comes to getting started with something. And again, right now, what's our goal is to get started and move forward. So after we've created our list and after we've decided on a focus, we are then going to go validate that idea with research. And my favorite research tool is the EverBee research tool because the extension allows you to be right on Etsy and get so much information without having to toggle back and forth between different screens. So let's say, again, we've decided, you know what, we have a lot of experience in professions or we want to focus there. And the product that I really want to start with are mugs, right? So we are going to go over into Etsy and we are going to figure out what Etsy buyers are wanting. Now, I want you to know sometimes this journey can be one step forward, two steps back, and that can happen over and over again. And before we jump into showing you how EverBee works, I want to remind you to catch this week's Coffee and Cha-Chings, where I'm going to be breaking down three of the hottest Valentine's Day trends that I am seeing on Etsy right now. So don't forget to catch that this week. And don't forget to drop your comments or questions below. That way I can answer them in an upcoming segment. Okay, so when we are trying to figure out if something is a good idea to sell, the first thing we want to do is go to Etsy and make sure that we have the EverBee extension downloaded onto our browser. This is going to allow this extension to show up when you're doing that research on Etsy without having to toggle between different websites. And all I want you to do is think about the umbrella niche that you selected. Now, in today's example, we're thinking about professions, right? And we are also thinking about selling mugs. Doesn't mean we're locked into that, but we are going to do some research to figure out if this is a good idea or not. So, how EverBee works is you are going to come to the top here, and I want you to pick. Remember, we want to niche down our individual products, right? So, we're not just going to sell profession mugs, but we want to sell more specific ones. So, let's say we are thinking about and we have experience with being a nurse. So the first thing I want to do is type in nurse mug and let's see if there is even any interest there or demand for that. Now, how EverBee will work is when your search results come up, the great thing is it's going to pop up with this on-screen tool here that shows how many monthly sales this has and how many views it's gotten and how old the listing is as well. Now, what's really interesting about this is generally a lot of these don't have a lot of sales. So, does that mean it's a bad idea? No, it doesn't, but it does mean we need to dig into this a little bit further. So, something that I am noting here is that there are some products here that are selling. You can see this registered nurse mug is selling 22 times. We can also see that some of these other ones have some other sales. Now, are any of these kind of knocking it out of the park? Not so much. So, it may have me kind of wondering, well, maybe nurses aren't a great place to start when it comes to the product type that I'm picking. So, what do we do in this situation? We can go in one of two directions, right? So, we can either decide, well, I really want to design for nurses. Maybe mugs is not the right direction. So, maybe I should think of a different product. The other direction we can go is, okay, well, nurses and mugs don't really work. Let's look at some other professions. So, what I want to do in this case is maybe I want to stick with nurses, but I want to see what is selling for nurses out there on Etsy. So, I'm going to type in nurse gifts. All right. And immediately I am already seeing some popular now and bestseller badges. So this is a very good sign that there is demand for nurse gifts. But now I just need to figure out what nurses actually want. I can see a best-selling candle. I can see a popular now journal. And what's interesting, see it in this journal, things my patient said, so I'll never forget, it's having about 190 monthly sales and maybe more. That is a great sign that there is demand there. The other thing I'm seeing are ornaments, more candles, bags. Interesting, I'm seeing another journal here that is selling about 90 times a month. I'm seeing another journal over here, sweatshirts. So there's definitely some different product types that we can go in that direction. I'm also seeing another candle here that is a bestseller. So at this point, if I'm thinking of print on demand products and giftable products, just on this first page alone, I'm getting some clues that candles and journals seem to be doing really well for nurses. So all I'm going to do in this case is then even narrow down even further. So let's say I decide that I want to do nurse candles. Then I'm going to search on Etsy nurse candles. Do you see how we're kind of just getting more and more specific, right? So I can see here there are already best-selling popular now badges. So this is going to be very helpful when we are doing our research. So as of this moment, I have validated that there is demand for nurse gifts and there is demand for candles. And again, we're starting in this umbrella of profession. So from here, after I do some nurse candles, I might then move on to other professions while designing candles. And again, the EverBee extension is just so incredibly helpful for being able to understand what products are selling without having to do all of this back and forth. It allows you to see all of that directly right on the screen, which saves me so much time. So again, we are not looking for perfection here. We sometimes are going to take one step forward and two steps back, as you saw in that very live and real demonstration of research. So here's the truth. When you have this focus, you are able to learn faster. Your designs are going to get better. And ultimately, you are going to understand what Etsy customers truly want. And what will that allow you to do? Over time, develop who your ideal customer is. Develop what niches are the right fit for you. Most successful Etsy sellers that I know, including myself, didn't start by sitting at a computer and just picking the perfect niche. They listed, they experimented, they watched what was working, and then they doubled down on that. But you don't get to that point unless you actually start. So just to recap, if you are stuck in this point of feeling like you have to pick the perfect niche, here's what I want you to do. I want you to brainstorm everything that you know and that you feel familiar with, and the same with your loved ones. Then I want you to think of an overarching umbrella category or niche where you want to start and potentially a product type. Then I want you to go into Etsy and I want you to dig into what's actually selling. Again, your idea might shift and shake, and that is okay. And then from there, I want you to get started with your first listing. And if you are having a hard time getting that first listing done and getting started, I'm going to link for you here a video that walks you through step by step the entire print on demand process. And again, this is how momentum starts. It starts and then it builds. And when it builds, there are incredible things that can happen with your Etsy print on demand shop. And if you want to grow your Etsy print on demand shop without feeling overwhelmed, don't forget to hit subscribe below because I've got you covered. Look forward to seeing you next time.